Automation Nation, back with Alex Fields, one of our regular contributors out of, you said it's hot and humid up there in Minneapolis. Is that correct, my friend?
Yes, and especially so since we had this electrical problem in our house, so I haven't had air conditioning for a while. We literally just got the electricity fixed yesterday. I'm having someone out to service the AC today, so I'm looking forward to getting back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, it's one extreme or the other, because out here in the Puget Sound area, it's January and July. People are talking. I mean, it's 59 degrees on my weather station. So, what are you going to do? Well, hey, you're part of a new book sponsored or underwritten by a community player, ShareGate. And the book is called Win as a Team. So what's the book? What's your story?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually kind of surprised that they approached me to be featured in here. So I'm a newer MVP or whatnot, and I've always seen stuff that ShareGate and some of the wider community contributors had put out before. And so now I'm actually featured in this book. I feel like a mini celebrity or something, It's like, how did this happen? So it's kind of shocking in some ways, but it's a book all about just driving teams adoption in the organization and helping folks to get the most out of the tools and understand how best to use the tools. I think what they had approached me about in particular was just my stance on how, I tend to take a little bit more of a democratic approach to teams and just allow users to create their own teams and stuff. And that's somewhat of a controversial topic right now in the wider community. A lot of folks like to take that privilege away and try to control how many teams get created, and try to avoid sprawl and so forth. So they wanted me to explain my stance on that a little bit. So yeah, I did.
Yeah, no, you're driving a lot of activity forward, and in a good way, with your IT Pro Mentor site. I'd offer as a community site. So I'm looking at your blog, and the link is below. So let's talk about teams in general. It's certainly enjoyed explosive growth. I struggle with teams, and here's how, on two fronts. One is, first of all, I came up through the Slack generation, so sometimes I'm a stick in the mud. And then number two, Microsoft often has competing stores. I don't mean the Microsoft store, but entities, if you will. And so, we've had SharePoint, we've had this, we've had that, and it competes with itself, right? And it's like, okay, so what is Teams? So I've always struggled with that. I mean, at one point, Microsoft Project actually had a data repository built in when you were working on a project, and you could have argued, well, let's not use SharePoint, let's use Microsoft Project and a data store that's not really what Microsoft Project does, right?
Right.
And I could probably think of other examples. At some point, people use Outlook as a data store with the folders, that kind of thing. So I'm still struggling to get fully behind Teams. That's number one. Number two, I don't completely trust Microsoft when it comes to telecom stuff. And so Teams is also competing with Zoom and some other platforms, and kind of been there, done that. And let me phrase that as a question, but when I'm invited to a Teams meeting with my Blue Yeti microphone and my earbuds and my camera, doggone it, it seems like sometimes it takes us 10 minutes to get everybody on and stable for a 30-minute meeting. Have you had a similar experience?
I haven't had that so much. It was kind of interesting. Recently, we had a project manager at our company who had sent out a Zoom invite to folks, and it was to a client and some other people internally when we were onboarding them to the Microsoft 365 platform. And part of the big push that they wanted was to do Teams. And so they were like, why are we on Zoom, And in her opinion, she's like, well, I just felt that Zoom is an easier way to get everyone together because you guys don't have Teams yet. We haven't given it to you yet. So once you've got it and we've kind of trained you on it, you'll be better at it. But right now we just want to give you something easy. And that was her opinion. I thought it was kind of funny because I actually had more trouble joining a Zoom meeting since I didn't have that installed yet and stuff. And so I actually was like 5 minutes late to this meeting because I was fumbling around trying to get Zoom to work for me. So I was like, I don't know. I just think it kind of depends on what you're used to, I guess. I don't know. But when I send a Teams invite, I don't usually have too much problems getting people like in and joined. Every once in a while, I find that people are like, if you send them a calendar invite, they might be confused. Like down below on the calendar invite, there's a join link. Like if you email them the exact same link, they're like, hey, where's the link? You could like copy and paste the link from the calendar, email it to them, and they'll get in just fine. But yeah, it sometimes takes a little bit of time. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, it's morning and I'm fussy, so understand
Sure.
where I'm coming from. So I actually appreciate you having good things to say about Teams as a platform for communication. And in all fairness, all the platforms have their day, right? We're actually on GoToWebinar right now, the Citrix solution.
Yep.
All of them have their day where, sometimes GoToMeeting just gets overwhelmed out in the ether, and you have to try and try and try. So any event, we got the link down in the blog to your book. Congratulations. I'll let you run for now, and we'll talk to you next month. So thank you, Alex, for being one of our contributors.
Sure.